IGN resmi kanalında Resident Evil 9'a kadarki olan Resident Evil hikaye özeti ve zaman çizelgesi paylaşılmış. 27 dakikalık bir video. Bir gün önce paylaşılmış. Dedim ben bunu izleyeyim. İzlerken de hani yorumlayayım. O yüzden kayıt açtım. Videoyu da açtım. Hikayenin hangi sıralamayla yer aldığı hikaye olarak, mesela oyunun çıkış yılı değil de benim yaptığım gibi hikaye olarak sıralamasını paylaşmışlar. Böyle Resident Evil 1'den 3'e geçiyor. Daha sonrasında 2'ye geri dönüyor. Sonra Outbreak giriyor, sonra 3'ü geri bitiriyor falan. Hani hikayenin ilerleyişine göre. Çünkü olaylar aynı anda falan yaşanıyor orada. Bir orayı bir oraya göstererek birbirine bağdaştırıyor. Orada öyle şeyler falan vardı. Daha sonrasında hani ortalama normal bir şekilde gidiyor ama sadece araya Revolutions'lar falan giriyor. Ayrıca normal düzenli olarak gidiyor. Neyse biz bunu bir izleyelim bakalım. Bir hatırlamış oluruz. Bir beyin tazeleme. O zamansa şöyle introsuyla başladık.
The ninth entry in the mainline Resident Evil series is fast approaching. But if you're looking to jump in for the first time, you might be left wondering what the hell is going on.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
Here is a very condensed synopsis of the main Resident Evil story and everything you need to know leading into Resident Evil Requiem. Warning, the following contains spoilers.
Sıkıntı yok, hepsini biliyorum.
Resident Evil Zero.
July 23rd, 1998. Raccoon City Police STAR's Bravo team is dispatched to investigate murders in the Arclay Mountains, but crashes before they can reach. Survivor Rebecca Chambers makes her way towards a spooky-looking mansion nearby to find the rest of Bravo team. Before she can arrive, Rebecca, along with her newly acquired convict companion Billy Cohen, arrive at an abandoned training facility, discovering that its former director, Dr. James Marcus, along with former partner Oswald E. Spencer, was responsible for a new biological weapon dubbed the T-Virus, a deadly infection that turns humans into zombies and other monstrosities.
Resident Evil.
STAR's Alpha team is dispatched to find out what happened to Bravo team. The search leads STAR's members Jill Valentine, Chris Redfield, Barry Burton, and team leader Albert Wesker to the Spencer Mansion. The gang splits up and discovers the horrible fates of fallen STAR's members due to the T-Virus outbreak, and Chris finds Bravo team member Rebecca Chambers still alive.
You.
Chris Redfield, Alpha Team. We're here to rescue you.
Jill and Chris eventually discover that the Umbrella Corporation, a pharmaceutical company with shady business practices, was behind illegal experiments that resulted in the horrors roaming the mansion's halls.
Anam.
Eventually, once they reach the sinister laboratory, our survivors discover that Wesker, their team leader, is actually a traitor and works for Umbrella in some capacity. Wesker infects himself with a strain of the T-Virus for some elaborate plan that involves releasing a new superweapon, the Tyrant, that swiftly kills him.
Şuradan sonra geri gelmeyecekti. O çok güzel olacaktı.
The remaining STAR's team escape the facility. Our survivors return to Raccoon City and begin to learn that the corruption runs deep. They decide to go rogue and investigate a grand corporate conspiracy. Chris heads off to Europe solo, and Jill stays in the city to learn more about Umbrella.
Resident Evil 3.
In September 1998, Raccoon City became overrun with zombies. Umbrella sees this outbreak as an opportunity to test its latest bioweapon, sending down the experimental Nemesis, a hulking beast with a rocket launcher that's tasked only with the death of all STAR's members.
Rocket launcher? Really?
While Jill desperately tries to escape the outbreak with Nemesis hot on her heels, rookie RPD officer Leon S. Kennedy and Chris Redfield's younger sister Claire Redfield both arrive in Raccoon City at the worst possible time.
İkiye geri geçti bak.
After being separated following a car accident, Leon and Claire agree to meet up at the nearby police department. Unfortunately, the building is also infested with zombies.
Oh god. Oh god.
On her quest to find her brother Chris, Claire runs into Sherry Birkin, a young girl being pursued by a monstrous weirdo who turns out to not only be her dad, but also Umbrella's leading scientist William Birkin.
You gotta be kidding me.
Turns out Billy B had planned to betray Umbrella and sell his newly developed G-Virus, but before he had the chance, he was gunned down by Umbrella. Before dying, William managed to infect himself with the G-Virus, allowing it to spread into Raccoon City through the water system, creating the enormous mess all our characters are now dealing with. Nice one, Willie. Meanwhile, Leon runs into Ada Wong, an FBI agent who's seeking the G-virus for herself to prove Umbrella's corruption.
Bir dakika
They
lan.
decide to form an alliance. Agent who's seeking the G-virus
He. Bak imzası o.
for herself to prove Umbrella's corruption. They decide to form an alliance, for now.
Thank you.
Leon and Ada run into Birkin's wife Annette, who is not a big fan of the pair.
You'll never get the G-virus!
Leon and Ada follow her to a secret Umbrella underground facility called Nest in pursuit of the G-virus sample.
I wonder where the G-virus is.
Claire also arrives at Nest in search of a vaccine for a now infected Sherry. Leon manages to obtain the G-virus sample but runs into William, who, in his freakish form, mortally wounds his wife. Annette reveals to Leon that Ada is not what she seems and is actually a mercenary who's looking to sell the G-virus to the highest bidder.
She's gonna sell it.
Ada demands the G-virus, but before Leon can hand it over, Annette manages to shoot Ada, who then falls to her death, dropping the G-virus sample in the process. Claire finds the vaccine and gives it to
Ölmüyor.
Annette to cure her daughter, while she tangles with an out-of-control William. Sherry is cured, but Annette eventually dies of her injuries. The facility is set to self-destruct, and Claire, Sherry, and Leon board a train to escape.
Shit! Gotta get out of here.
With Nest destroyed, the crew finally manages to escape the nightmare, and on the outskirts of Raccoon City, vow to continue their fight against Umbrella.
So, is it over?
I don't know. But if it's not, we'll stop it. Whatever it takes.
Yeah, you damn right we will.
Evil. Outbreak.
While Jill, Leon, and Claire are dealing with their own issues amidst a zombie outbreak, 8 other Raccoon City residents are also in a desperate fight for survival. Most notably, local journalist Alyssa Ashcroft, an investigative reporter trying to spotlight Umbrella's evil ways. Alyssa manages to escape Raccoon City before its government-issued annihilation, carrying
Grace'in
information
annesi.
that could expose Umbrella once and for all.
9'daki ana karakterimizin.
Resident Evil 3.
Elsewhere in Raccoon City, Jill Valentine is infected with the T-virus. Fortunately, Carlos Oliveira, a merc who, despite being hired by Umbrella, is on the scene to not only cure Jill, but also help her find an important vaccine.
Come on. This shit better work.
At this point, our heroes discover the unfortunate news that the US government plans to wipe out Raccoon City with a missile strike, hoping to eradicate the infection. Carlos and Jill head to another underground lab, this time creatively called Nest 2. Unfortunately, Nemesis is still alive and very much in pursuit. Jill and Carlos manage to take out the abomination once and for all, and with a vaccine sample in hand, escape the city before the missile strike. Unfortunately, Nikolai, Carlos's former colleague slash secret operative, is waiting and manages to destroy the vaccine vial. Jill and Carlos take down Nikolai, leaving him for dead, and escape just before the missile arrives to completely floor Raccoon City for good.
Carlos gümledi. Aman Carlos diyorum, Nikolay.
Resident Evil.
3 months after escaping from Raccoon City, Claire Redfield, in search of her brother Chris, attempts to raid a European Umbrella facility before being
Yat yere
captured.
yat.
Claire is taken to an island prison commanded by Alfred Ashford, the governor of Rockfort Island. An outbreak occurs, of course, and after being freed, Claire gets to work looking for Chris and escaping the island. There's no sign of Chris, so after much trouble, Claire escapes on a plane. Ashford, who it turns out has a split personality disorder and often believes himself to be his twin sister Alexia, takes
Kişisel
control of the
bozukluğu
plane
olan
remotely
davarın
and crashes
teki.
it into another Umbrella facility, this time in Antarctica. It's also worth noting that during the crash, Claire spends a period unconscious here, during which she has a dream that turns out to be the plot of Resident Evil Survivor 2. Weird. Alfred, believing Claire to be a spy, also escapes Rockfort in a quest for revenge, and after he's fatally wounded, frees his actual sister Alexia, the person he previously believed or wished himself to be, who was cryogenically frozen and riddled with a new virus called T. Veronica. Meanwhile, back on Rockfort Island, wouldn't you know it, Chris has shown up looking for Claire. Instead, he runs into his old pal slash mortal enemy, Albert Wesker.
Long time no see, Chris.
Evet.
Wesker?
who's still alive, super strong, and on a mission to find the Ch1ska sample. Turns out his plan was to be killed by the Tyrant so he could reach his full potential of some experimental virus he had or something like that. They both make their way to Antarctica, and Chris finally reunites with Claire, who then defeats a now very powerful Alexia before escaping as the facility, you guessed it, self-destructs.
Chris!
Hey, you know that I always keep my promises.
Oh, and Chris and Claire vow to take down Umbrella. You seeing a pattern here?
There's still something we've got to do.
You mean...
Yeah, it's payback time. We've got to destroy Umbrella. Now, let's finish this once and for all.
Hadi bakayım.
Resident Evil 4.
6 years have now passed, and Umbrella is now long gone due to a government suspension and a stock value crash. Basically, the lamest way possible for a big bad to go out. Leon Kennedy, the once rookie RPD officer, is now a government agent who's sent on a mission to rescue the president's daughter Ashley from her kidnappers in rural Spain. Leon discovers that not only are her kidnappers a cult called Los Illuminados, but they're also infected by a brand new mind-controlling parasite called Las Plagas. During the rescue, Leon coincidentally bumps into an old flame, Ada Wong.
You can stop right there, Leon.
Eski aşkı ha?
Wouldn't make me use this. Would you?
Who turns out to not be dead and is once again on the hunt for a virus. After rescuing Ashley, Leon confronts the cult's leader, Sadler, and with the help of Ada, they defeat him. Bringing down the parasite and all the hordes he infected.
I'll give you a holy body.
Ada, once again showing her true colours, takes the Las Plagas sample and escapes by helicopter. But not before, setting the base to self-destruct.
I don't understand. Why would she just...
Gotta move. Island's gonna blow.
It's gonna what?
Yeah.
Leon and Ashley manage to escape very dramatically on a jet ski and appear to ride it all the way back from Spain to the US. I mean, they probably just went back to the mainland and took a more traditional route, but imagining they jet skied across the Atlantic is funnier. So let's say they did that.
Resident Evil.
Diyelim ki öyle yaptılar yani. Yani öyle
Shortly
bir
after the
bilgi.
events of Resident Evil 4, we're finally reunited with our original protagonists, Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine, who are now involved in a new investigation into bioorganic weapons, which results in them discovering a new strain of the T virus called T-Abyss, a weapon that the latest new evil organization Veltro plans to use, infecting 1/5 of the world's oceans. Ultimately, there's a lot of betrayal and evil plots here, with names and organizations that mostly don't feature in the wider series, except for one, the BSAA, short for the Bioterrorism Security Assessment Alliance. Chris and Jill are founding members, and this new organization's motives become the driving force for these characters going forward. Naturally, Chris and Jill survive the events of Revelations, taking us directly into the next chapter of Resident Evil.
Resident Evil
2 years after Resident Evil 4, our original bad Ch1ska is still on the loose. Chris and Jill, now under the banner of the BSAA, follow a lead towards Umbrella's founder Oswald E. Spencer, but instead run into Albert Wesker, who has killed Spencer.
Bunu bize 5'te gösteriyordu bu
Wesker,
senaryoyu.
seemingly even more powerful than before, and now dodging bullets for fun, is more than a match for Chris and Jill. To save Chris's life, Jill sacrifices herself, sending both her and Wesker to their deaths. Chris, understandably, is a bit sad.
Jill! Resident Evil 5.
Almost 3 years after Jill's death, Chris is tasked with apprehending terrorist Ricardo Irving, who is selling bioorganic weapons in Africa.
Wow, perceptive, aren't ya?
Along with his new partner Sheva, Chris discovers that the locals are infected by a modified Las Plagas parasite. Chris is also informed by the BSAA that Jill could still be alive. After defeating a mutated Irving, Chris and Sheva learn that Tricell, the company that funds the BSAA, had taken over Umbrella's CD work in conjunction with a, would you believe it, still alive Wesker, who's been conducting human experiments.
Wesker, you are alive.
Unfortunately, one of his victims is Jill, who is also still alive and now under Wesker's control.
Yeteneğiyle kurtulmuştur bir şekilde. Oradan düşse ne
Chris
olacak
and
ki?
Ch1ska manage to subdue Jill and remove the mind control device before it's too late. Wesker tries to flee on a bomber, which crash lands into, of all places, a volcano. After some brief boulder punching, Chris and Ch1ska finally kill Wesker once and for all. And all is well in the world, for now.
Locked and loaded.
Suck on this, Wesker.
Your time's up, you son of a bitch.
Yardı lan ikiye.
Resident Evil Revelations 2.
Claire Redfield, younger sister of Chris and now a member of TerraSafe, an anti-bio-terror company, once again finds herself trapped on an island with her new partner, Moira Burton, daughter of
Jerry
Barry
değil mi o ya?
Burton. Remember him? He's the Jill sandwich guy.
You would have fit nicely into a sandwich.
This island, an abandoned prison, isn't a nice place to be. While being stalked by mysterious monsters, are directed around this labyrinth by someone known as the Overseer.
Who the f is quoting poetry?
After all the typical Resident Evil hijinks involving other survivors, shady corporations and betrayal, it's revealed that the Overseer is called Ch1ska. Although she does share a surname though, she's not actually a relative of the infamous villain. Stay tuned for that later. But rather a kidnapped child who was snatched for her talents and inducted into the Wesker Project, a sinister plot developed by Oswald E. Spencer to try and develop a race of superior beings using the T-Phobos virus. Another virus, blimey.
I have to destroy you!
Alex has been doing her own experiments on the prison island, injecting a virus into her victims and creating a fresh batch of monstrosities. Eventually, Claire and Moira corner Alex, and now, with nowhere left to run, Alex commits suicide. But not before, say it with me, setting the base to self-destruct.
Self-destruct sequence of the facility's upper spire will begin immediately.
Claire manages to escape, but unfortunately,
Olmazsa olmaz
Moira is
tesis
trapped in the
imhası.
rubble. Enter Big Daddy Barry.
Moira.
6 months pass before Barry reaches the island, desperately chasing Moira's SOS signal. But before finding his daughter, he runs into a still alive but mutated Ch1ska.
It's not enough to live. I want to transcend.
After more survival horror hijinks, Barry eventually comes face to face with Alex, who's now
Alt yazı
heavily
mükemmel
mutated
ya.
into her final glowing orange target-covered form. Fortunately, both a still-alive Moira and a returning Claire Redfield with a rocket launcher arrive to swing the odds in Barry's favour.
Bak.
In the epilogue, Claire receives a message about her brother Chris Redfield and his jaunt to China to handle another bioterror threat.
Yeah. Well, tell Piers to look after him.
Right, next up is Resident Evil 6, which features not one, but 3 interwoven campaigns, and it all gets very messy. Deep breath. Let's just get through this.
Resident Evil 6.
In 2012, a new virus surfaced from a company dubbed Neo Umbrella, led by someone who appears to be Ada Wong.
Bak hepsi ölür.
Series newcomer Jake Muller is believed to be the key to the vaccine due to his antibodies. The reason Jake is immune is, well, because unlike Ch1ska, he's actually Wesker's child.
So, you're Wesker Jr.
Her şeyin çocuğu. 5'te.
In 2013, the American president
Kadının
decided
adını
that enough
unuttum
is
ya.
enough with all these bioterror incidents, and it's
Exela.
time to spill the
Exela ile
beans about what really
Wesker'ın.
happened in Raccoon City. However, before he can, there's another infection attack, and the president, now a zombie, has to be taken down by his loyal agent and series favorite, Leon Kennedy. Ada Wong then arrives and tells Leon that National Security Advisor Derek Simmons is affiliated with Neo Umbrella, and behind the terror attack that zombified the Prez. Leon heads to China in pursuit of Simmons. Chris Redfield, now racked with post-traumatic stress and a thirst for revenge after his team was slaughtered by Ada, also heads to China, as does Jake, because, you know, plot.
Hell yeah!
Right, there's a lot going on here, so let's do this bit really quickly. Chris finds out Jake's true identity, and despite an awkward moment when Chris tells Jake he's killed his dad, they mostly work it out. Simmons dies, Chris's mate Piers is wounded, and then grows a new arm with the C virus and saves Chris. Jake kills his boss, who's not worth talking about, and we also find out that there are two aiders, one being an imposter called Carla, and that explains all the outfit changes, and finally all the good guys win and go their separate ways. Basically, a lot is going on, and it's not very good, so maybe just ignore this bit.
President would have done the same. Resident Evil 7.
In 2017, Ethan Winters is searching for his missing wife, Mia, eventually following the trail deep into Louisiana, where he finds her imprisoned by a very odd and very disgusting family, the Bakers.
Welcome to the family, son.
Ethan is attacked and captured by Jack Baker, and then forced to join in with a
Kral adam
volume-inducing
ya.
family dinner with his wife Marguerite, son Lucas, and an elderly woman. It turns out this family has been infected by something called mold, some sort of parasitic fungal virus that has the added benefit of resilience, but the downside of making you a bit gross. After escaping and managing to kill hideous forms of Jack and Marguerite, Ethan reunites with his wife and develops a serum to help shake off her apparent mold infection. After trying to flee on a boat, the vessel is capsized by a mysterious creature that turns out to be a girl named Evelyn, a bioweapon that Mia, who it turns out is a secret agent, was tasked with escorting. Turns out Evelyn was responsible for the Baker family's mind-altering infection, because she was desperate for her own family. You know, like all bioweapons are, classic stuff.
Listen, the girl just wants a family of her own.
Side note, you can also find a note from Alyssa Ashcroft in Resident Evil 7. Remember her from Resident Evil
Evet, yaptığı
Outbreak? Turns
haberlere
out she's
gönderme
still a
var.
jobbing journo who's investigating the disappearances in Louisiana. After injecting Evelyn with a toxin, she reverts to her true form as the old woman at the Baker's disgusting dinner. Turns out that she's been rapidly aging. Evelyn mutates into a giant blob like all classic Resident Evil bosses, and after a final confrontation with Ethan, with a little help from a recently arrived military squad, she's finally destroyed. In a final twist, the leader of the military squad is revealed to be none other than a very different looking Chris Redfield, emerging from a helicopter that's branded Umbrella.
Resident Evil 7.
After Ethan escapes, Chris and his team pursue
Evet,
Lucas
Chris'in
Baker,
gözünden
who it turns out
oynayışımız.
was never actually under Evelyn's mind control due to a serum provided to him by a new shadowy organization called the Connections. The Connections were behind Evelyn's creation, and they were using Lucas to gather more data on her. But he also planned to betray his masters anyway, you know, like every Resident Evil villain ever.
Lucas!
After finally working his way through a series of traps, Chris manages to kill a mutated Lucas and finally returns to base for an urgent call.
Game over.
Lucas'ı niye iki kişi öldürüyor?
Resident Evil.
Over 3 years later, Ethan and Mia's Eastern
Konudan bağımsız Resident Evil 7'deki End of Zoya'yı koymamışlar. Demek ki hikayeyle çok bir alakası yok.
Europe-based family Bliss is violently interrupted by the Houndwolf squad, led by returning and turtlenecked Chris Redfield, who now oddly looks like he did before Resident Evil 7 again. Weird. Chris and his goons shockingly and mercilessly gun down Mia and then kidnap Ethan and his child, Rosemary.
No!
What? Why?
Ethan wakes to find himself stuck in a rural village and runs into terrified villagers who've been cowering from a horde of marauding lichens. Ethan, on a desperate quest to find his missing daughter Rose, works his way through the abandoned village and into a nearby castle inhabited by vampires, most notably an enormous goth mummy called Lady Dimitrescu.
Geldi ya. Geldi. Mükemmel ya.
Lady D, along with a group of oddities, belong to a worshipping cult for Mother
Tipe
Miranda,
bak.
a godlike, mold-infected leader, who, in a quest to bring her daughter back to life, ended up becoming consumed by the infection and spreading it to her 4 elevated lords and houses. In his journeys, Ethan discovers a crest for these 4 lords that looks eerily similar to Umbrella's logo. Hey, remember them? Ethan's journey to rescue Rose and take down Miranda's lords eventually leads him to Chris Redfield. Chris explains that the Mia he gunned down wasn't actually Mia at all, but rather a shape-shifting Mother Miranda, who considered Ethan and Mia's daughter Rose to be the Evelyn successor based on the fact that both her parents were infected by the mold.
She changed her appearance and pretended to be Mia. Seems she also survived being shot, so now I'm here to finish the job.
Rose was born with unique properties, and after Miranda finally confronted Ethan in her true form, she explained that the mold would help rebirth Rose as her daughter Eva. Miranda then, without hesitation, rips out Ethan's heart.
Miranda! You coward! Come out and face me!
Don't worry. Your death will come quick. You will join the Megamycetes records.
Chris and the Hound Wolf squad launch a full assault against Mother Miranda, battling through her waves of monsters and destroying a large mold barrier that's now protecting her. Once inside, Chris and the team discover a large mold root that's called the Megamycete. That turns out to be the source of the mold that's plagued the village, but also the Baker family in Resident Evil 7. Turns out, the Megamycete not only infects its victims, but it also absorbs their DNA and memories. Chris plants a detonation device, but before destroying the mold once and for all, decides to pass through Miranda's lab for one last lore dump. He discovers the entirety of Miranda's plan and her quest to find a suitable vessel for her daughter Ava's consciousness to be reborn into. Miranda was also responsible for the creation of Evelyn, working with the connections. Later in the lab, Chris discovers the biggest shock of all, when it's revealed that Oswald E. Spencer, founder of Umbrella, was actually a student of Miranda and began work on the progenitor virus based on her teachings. To honor this, the Umbrella logo took inspiration from Miranda's Four Lords symbol that Ethan discovered earlier. Not only was Miranda responsible for everything in Resident Evil 7 and Village, but she was also the inspiration that started it all. After Chris finally works his way through the exposition hallway, he discovers the true and very much alive Mia, who reveals that Ethan also isn't quite dead yet. It's revealed that Miranda didn't kill Ethan, Jack Baker did, way back in the start of Resident Evil 7. Ethan was infected by mold, which had been keeping him moving this entire time, and explained how a man could regularly reattach body parts with just a bit of healing juice.
Kıyafet de yerine oturuyor. Çok iyi.
Falling apart, but can muster enough for one last stand with Mother Miranda. Whereupon defeating the big bad once and for all, he manages to pass his daughter to Chris and take ownership of a detonation device that would destroy the village, the mold, and himself once and for all. Ethan triggers the explosion as Chris, Mia, and Rose escape.
Ya şimdi zaten Ethan kendisi de şeyden etkilendi ve küfrün ana kaynağını yok ettiği için kendisi de zaten gidecekti. Hani helak olacaktı. O yüzden yani bence yaptığı gayet mantıklıydı. Ha, işin garip yanı bu DLC'de tabii, o da ayrı.
After jacking in, Rose enters a new realm, full of the memories from the victims the Megamycete had consumed. Rose then takes a jaunt through a version of the village, guided by a spirit called Michael, who ends up being Ethan's remaining consciousness. She's also taunted by the trapped consciousness of Mother Miranda, who is desperate to escape the realm. With the help of Ethan and her newfound abilities, Rose manages to defeat Mother Miranda and share one last moment with her father before she returns to the real world.
I love you, Rose.
I love you too, Dad.
In the aftermath, Rose visits Ethan's grave while shadowed by a mysterious agent who calls her Evelyn. And after threatening him, Rose reveals that she has abilities that even Chris doesn't know about.
Oh, it's just a joke, Rose.
I can show you things even Chris doesn't know I can do.
We
have a clear shot.
Stand down.
And that's it, the entire plot of Resident Evil that matters before you dive into Resident Evil Requiem. Yes, we skipped over some bits here or there, but there's a lot to cover in the wacky world of Resident Evil. Now, excuse me while I set my base to self-destruct and vow to get my revenge. Now, if you like that video, why not check out our final hands-on preview of Resident Evil Requiem? And for everything else Resi, stick with IGN.
Bu video kendini imha edecektir. Şu ablanın olayını ben hala çok merak ediyorum ya. Çok iyi, güzeldi. Güzel bir bilgi tazelemesi yaptık.
Go.